What was the mood like at practice today?
Well, everybody's down. You know, everybody's disappointed that we, didn't play well last night and gave up a game that, after having a good game in Atlanta, and then coming in last night and not having the right tone, right sense of urgency to begin the game. And a lot of emphasis is put on the end of the game, but I'm a firm believer in the way you start is the way you finish. And we did not start that game last night with the right mindset, right approach. And I take responsibility for it. Again, making a bigger deal out of it than we did. I should have done that. But again, we're fighting for something bigger, and if we're going to do that, we can't come into games like that with that type of approach.
What you always say to enjoy it till midnight when you win, but when you lose, how do you balance where you stop thinking about it, stop beating yourself up?
Well, we started talking about the Lakers today. Right. So again, we talked about, went through what we did wrong, some things we can clean up, and then start talking about the Lakers, right after that. So again, we got to flip the switch. That's the great thing about an NBA. You're not going to go 82-0. I haven't seen it yet. But again, we've got to learn and break some of the trends that we have going that are becoming bad habits, and that was the main theme for today. Let's break some of these bad habits. Our starts, our last 5 minutes of the game, the last 3 minutes of the game, whatever the metric is, and to make sure we understand what we're doing in that time frame.
Obviously, you want the ball in the best players' hands at the end of the game, and the two looks specifically that DeMar got are shots that he makes more often than not. But you spoke early in the week about about waiting until the last 30 seconds or minute before you get into your clutch time offense rather than 4 minutes, 5 minutes. How do you feel you guys did in that regard?
We still are working. We've changed a lot, our defense, our offensive approach, but we still breaking some habits in the last 5 minutes, 3 minutes of the game that, again, we want the ball in our best players' hands, but, have different ways of getting in their hands that are not as predictable. That's something we're still working on, and being creative and different as far as getting the ball to Kyle and DeMar, and some of it is on our young guys to take the reign. They're in there with Kyle. That doesn't mean let's get the ball to Kyle. No, you run the show. So those are the things we're coming to and getting to. And again, we are one of the top 4 teams in the league offensively the first 43 minutes, and then after that we sink to like 24th or 25th. So that disconnect is where we're working on and transitioning, and it's all of us. It's not just Kyle and DeMar. It's everybody involved in that portion of the game.
Even JV, it looked like he had a pretty good look from 3. I believe it was in the last minute there. Is that one of those things where there's a reluctance, maybe not in the first 47 minutes, but once it gets down to the last minute?
And he's got that's what we want to develop with JV. Whether it's the last 5 minutes, last 3 minutes, whatever it is, he's got that open shot. He's wide open. He's not going to get a better shot than a wide open corner 3. And he turned it down, and it turned into a worse play, a tougher shot. So those are the things we've got to continue to work on. We understand it, we see it, and again, we've talked about it. It's funny, we talked about it and worked on it in Atlanta, and it didn't present itself in the Atlanta game, and it presented itself in the next game. So, it's something that's an ongoing thing, and we've got 2 months to get to work on it and understand it and make sure we embrace it.
Is it fair to say that he doesn't get the ball in the corner that often?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And again, but against guys like Gobert, that's hanging out and half a manning DeMar and Kyle and cheating and hanging out in the paint 2.9 seconds. That's a great weapon. That's how he was able to get the other 2 threes, wide open threes, and he was wide open in the corner on that play. But again, it's something that's new. It's not going to happen overnight with JV, and it's not going to happen overnight. But again, it's something we continue to work on and talk about and go through here and improve.
How long? Go ahead. How long does DeMar sort of lament those shots? Obviously, it's not won and lost at the end of the game, but those are the ones he wants to make, and they're probably frustrated.
Well, as an all-star player, you live and die taking the last shot or the tough in-the-game shots. You got to have a gunslinger's mentality. You got to say, okay, next game. But again, it's how we get him those shots And again, sometimes he may have to be a quarterback. He may have to move the ball and see the defense. Even last night when Gobert came to him, his surge was wide open on the skip pass. And again, seeing those plays, reading those situations, and quarterbacking in those situations is just as important as him scoring. And those are the things we talked about and showed on the film today.
Why is it so much harder, do you think, for it to carry over into the last 5 minutes in a close game? Is it the defense?
We would love for the defense to say, okay, you guys go and run everything you want to run. They're going to change. Again, it's a habit, habits from last year, of calling set plays for DeMar and Kyle at the end of the games. Those are the things we got to continue to break. We've done a good job of doing it for 43, 44 minutes of the game. Now we got to continue it longer. And again, it's not the first time we talked. We really hit on it in Atlanta, and unfortunately, it didn't present itself in the Atlanta game, and it did last night. And we did not do a good job of executing it at the end of the game.
And in retrospect, should Kyle have stayed with Rubio on that three?
Well, he was in a help position. Our rule is starting in, but he was trying to get in and get out. You can't be in an accordion in basketball. You got to start in a help position and then get out, because once you try to get in and get back out, you'll never get there. I thought he had a hell of an effort to get out there to him, but he was trying to get off to help because the line got blown by, and the kid made a great play. And we weren't all out double teaming. We were saying get in to the nail. And again, those things happen, and the kid had made 2 or 3 shots in a row. So we wanted to be in help position and make somebody else make a shot, and he did.
Probably live with a 29% 3-point shooter.
No question, Doug. That's what people don't understand. Why would you leave? You had to make your choice. This kid was hot as a firecracker, so Kyle was in the help position where he should be, and make somebody else make a shot. And that time it bit us in the behind.
I want to ask you about Cousins. Obviously, he's had his ups and downs in his career, but having a great season, was going to probably make the playoffs for the first time. How much do you feel for a guy like that? I felt
for him, man. I was just with him in August in Lexington, and feel for him. A kid to go down like that and tear his Achilles when he's having a good year. His team is, like you said, is going toward a playoff run. They just kind of seem like they're gelling now. Everybody was down on the beginning of the season, and so you feel for him. And hopefully he'll have a full recovery from it. But you feel for him and his teammates because they were getting it together and playing. They beat Houston last night. So
he's kind of a polarizing player. Fans see one side of him. Players that I talk to have a huge amount of respect for him as a man. What do you feel? No
question. I totally feel. After being around him in Lexington and the alumni game, he's totally different than his persona is on the floor. Again, we all grow up, and I think that's something he's doing now. He's maturing and understanding what the vibe that he gives, the persona he's giving off, and so hopefully he's seeing that like most players do. But again, everyone you talk to say he's a great, not a good teammate, a great teammate.
I know DeMar and Kyle were tight with him on an Olympic team, and sort of struck me as okay, that's rather telling.
Right. It is. So a lot of times, the persona is different than the reality of who the person is, and because it's easy for all of us to judge who a guy is, and is he a bad guy, whatever. But again, I wish him nothing but the best of luck of rehabbing and getting back to full strength.
Sometimes it's easy to forget what a brotherhood the NBA is, especially with all the drama that goes on here and there. But I mean, it sucks for something like yesterday to sort of bring it out, but was that sort of a reminder, seeing everyone kind of come out with their well wishes?
Yeah, no question, it is, Josh, and I think that's great for the league. And again, we all have our issues, but we have the best job in the world at being in the NBA. Is he always going to be perfect? No, but the process and the grind that embracing the grind, embracing adversity is what this is about. And every time, if you want to jump off the ship, every time you face adversity, you'll never be a championship team. Champions, and again, all I can do is go back to when I won the championship. We had a lot of adversity, but the key thing from ownership on down, we fought through it, but we aligned. And that's the key with this, and that's the same throughout the league. There's going to be adversity, there's going to be situations, but how every team and how your team deals with it is going to determine your success.
When you get the Lakers, they've been playing really
Very well.
good
It's
basketball.
a lot like Utah. Utah, you know, they didn't play well in Atlanta, but they played well in Detroit, and they played one of their better games talking to their coaches last night. So, again, we're going to get people's best shot from our position in the conference or whatever it is. People are going to enjoy going at DeMar and Kyle because of their status in the league. So we've got to embrace that. We got to come out and understand we don't have a quarter to spot a team. We got to come out with that sense of urgency, that focus, and I thought we did in Atlanta. But for whatever reason, and they're not important, we did not last night. And that's what we talked about today. When you go out there, we got to, because the Lakers are going to come in guns a-blazing. They're a running team, don't run a lot of, they're not as execution-minded as Utah is, but they run a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of ISOs. They run everybody that you're guarding besides Lopez is going to bring the ball down the floor in transition. So we got to have our running shoes on to get back and be ready to guard in a one-on-one situation.
Obviously,
Okay, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Dwane.
Okay,
Thank you.
when you guys set out to change your offense, you were hoping for internal improvement. Did you see it coming this dramatically, this quickly for JT?
We're not there, and I'll be the first to say that, and I've said it before, we're not there yet. We're not totally, we've changed a lot of things, but we haven't completed the task. You know, and again, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So we still have some kinks to work out and some things to work out, especially at the end of games that we need to continue to work on, to improve on, to get where we want to go.
For JB specifically, though, just given how he's passed out some tough double teams and extending his range.
He caught the ball, kicked it out for a three last night, which was great to see. Made plays out of the post. As much as his scoring, those plays were as important as his post-up scoring and all that stuff. So that's there. But his reading the situation, reading the defense, passing out, it was just as impressive, and we got to continue to build on that.
What's next for him?
Is continue to do that. Continue to make plays out of the post, to make passes, and also to do a better job of defending the pick and roll. Continue to work on that and have that mentality of being a good pick and roll defensive player.